year career in law enforcement. As a detective, Nancy specialized in the monitoring of registered sex offenders, narcotics, human trafficking, and internet crimes against children, and was also an advanced hostage negotiator. Prior to her retirement, Nancy was awarded the Silver Patrick Henry Award from the Military Order of World Wars, the highest honor that can be given to a non-member civilian in recognition of her law enforcement work in the community. Nancy now presents and lectures on these areas of expertise at various venues across the U.S. Nancy also currently volunteers as a listener for the nonprofit crisis line, COP Line. Nancy is an ordained minister with the Church of the Living Spirit and the current president. Nancy is a member of the Lilydale Assembly, a lifetime member and past president of the Association of Oklahoma Narcotic Enforcers, a member of the Fraternal Order of Police, and the American Legion. Nancy is a certified yoga instructor, wellness coach, crystal bowl sound intuitive, marathon runner, poet, and photographer. For more information, find her on Facebook at Wellness with Nancy Lombardo, where her motto is protecting and serving your well-being. So that's her bio, but I'm going to tell you more because she's really that incredible. And again, I know some of the regulars here have heard this story before, but again, I think it's worth repeating because it is sort of funny. When I met Nancy for the first time, I was teaching the philosophy class in the church, and Nancy was the only student I had that day, shall we say, after church. And she's telling me, I'm like asking her about her, and she's telling me about what she did and everything like that. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, this sounds almost too incredible to be true. So what do you think I did as soon as she left and we wrapped up? Googled her. Yes, I did. And of course, it's all true. And we hit it off so well in that class. And we have just been excellent friends ever since. And we work together so well as president and vice president of this church. And I can't say enough about her. I actually nominated her for a competition in Erie for an incredible woman award. And she was one of the top finalists for that. She really is amazing. And if you know her in the community, she works tirelessly by volunteering her time for the church and for the community and for anyone who needs her for anything. She is just really one of the most incredible people that I know, and I am blessed to know her and blessed to turn this podium over to her today to speak to you. Thank you.
That was just too much. Good morning, Church of the Living Spirit and friends. So nice to see you all. So I'd like to recognize Emmy Check-in, one of our founding members. Without you, Emmy, I would not be standing here today. I appreciate you and love you so much. You know, over the past 6 years, as your president, I've really tackled a lot of hard subjects on this podium. This one, the one at the Assembly Hall, because I feel if we don't tackle the hard subjects, we don't learn. And if we don't tell our own stories, you know, that's what brings everybody in, is explaining and sharing your personal stories. So He Ain't Heavy, He's My Brother, written by Bob Russell and Bobby Scott in 1969, and sung, of course, by Neil Diamond in 1970. Maria can attest, my mother had this album. We played it all the time at our house. I grew to love this song, and it became very meaningful to me at the very tender age of 10. So I'm going to begin with a story that I have never shared. And this is going to be very hard for me because my sister is sitting here, and she's never heard this story either, because when I say I've never shared it, I've never said it out loud. These words haven't come out of my mouth. I mean it. But sometimes I think just getting it out there and getting it off of you will help me grow. So I'd like to begin with a story of a horrible bullying that happened to me at the very tender age of 10 years old. And I'm not even sure how it started, other than the fact that, honestly, I wasn't the prettiest kid. I had wild frizzy hair and a really big nose. And I know you're looking at me thinking, well, she doesn't have a big nose right now. But honestly, that's what body shaming does. And this is the new improved Nancy that had a nose job when I was in my 30s. So the kids at school began to start calling me the name Igor. And Igor at the time was some kind of character in Frankenstein. And there was another girl in my class that had bad hygiene, dirty hair, and raggedy clothes. And she began getting picked on far worse than me, and the name calling they did to her was just horrific. I have changed her name for this story to Mary, because I love the name Mary and it's angelic, and for what she went through, she had to have been an angel. Mary lived a few blocks from my house, and we began to start walking to school together. Well, I went to CC Ring School, and whenever we'd reach the top of the sidewalk, there was a top of the sidewalk, you'd have to go down the sidewalk and into the school door. Well, before you could go down that sidewalk, kids would be on both sides of that sidewalk. And they began calling me and Mary horrible, horrible names, laughing. And it began to become an everyday thing. One of the boys, I guess, was really mad at me for befriending Mary and not making fun of her like everyone else was. He was so mad, he tried several times to get me to meet him in the playground after school so we could fight. I was so scared I didn't even know. I don't know how to fight, nor did I want to fight anybody. You know, I'm a girl, he's a boy. Now the cop Nancy right now, that'd be a different story, I could promise you that. Promise you that. So one evening, and Maria's gonna know why I asked her this question, while at the college stadium, the place that all kids in Jamestown, and Chris can attest to this, used to hang out and attend football games, I walked around the corner to the bathroom, and around came this boy with his group of friends around him, just like a gang in the West Side Story. He walked right up to me, and without hesitation, he sucker punched me hard, right in the stomach. So hard, it took my breath away. Then they all just walked away and left me standing there. I managed to get into the bathroom thinking I was dying because I couldn't breathe. I stayed in there for the longest time, scared to come out. It was freaking awful. I finally came out of the bathroom and didn't tell anyone what had just happened. I was scared, intimidated, embarrassed, and humiliated. I remember wondering, what was wrong with me? Why don't I fit in? Why are the kids so mean? I remember feeling alone and afraid. It felt like the world was against me, like I was invisible, or worse, only seen as a target. And all because I wasn't pretty, and because I had befriended someone others didn't like. It was a very long school year, and all I could say is I couldn't wait to get out of that school and move into junior high school, hoping and praying that things would get better for me. Those moments were some very dark times in my life at 10 years old, but they also taught me resilience, compassion, and the importance of standing up not just for myself, but for others. And I'm certain this played a profound role in my decision to pursue a career in law enforcement where I could dedicate my life to protecting those who could not protect themselves. So today, bullying is not just my story. It's an absolute crisis affecting billions. According to the National Center for Education, about 20% of students ages 12 to 18 reported being bullied during the school year, and that bullying peaks in middle school, where nearly 30% of 6th to 8th graders reported being bullied. Almost 16% of high school students reported being electronically bullied through text messages, social media, and apps, just in this past year. And of course, students who are bullied are 2 to 9 times more likely to consider suicide than those who aren't. Studies show that 70% of students say they've witnessed bullying at school, and that 7 out of 10 students watch cruelty happen, often right in front of them. Here's a good stat. 94% of teenage girls and 64% of teenage boys report experiencing body shaming and say they've been criticized for their appearance on social platforms. And let's not forget about the LGBTQ plus youth and adults. They experience especially higher rates of bullying. Nearly 32% are bullied each and every day. But bullying does not just affect kids. 20 to 30% of adults report having experienced bullying in adulthood, ranging from the workplace to cyber and social bullying. and even into my adulthood, as my career working as a police officer, many times I can tell you, if I said something to somebody that they didn't like or I arrested them, they felt it okay to say many times, "You're a big, ugly-nosed bitch." Common for me to be called that as police officer. Were my male counterparts, it was "yes, sir." And yes, I understand that 20 to 30% of the adult statistics, I understand that. So I'd like to ask right now, and if you are not embarrassed to do so, if we could see a show of hands here today of people other than myself who have been bullied. Wow, look around. Wow. These numbers are not just statistics. These are cries for help. These are lives at risk. These are stories of our children, our friends, our co-workers. These are us. But there's another group we don't talk about enough: the bystanders, the witnesses, the people who see, hear, or sense what's happening and have a choice. Because when bullying happens, it's not just the ones who are bullied who are involved or the victims. It is every single person who knows about it and decides to act or look the other way. I implore you today to please do not engage in watching, commenting, or sharing any social media that exploits anyone getting bullied. Please do not allow these type of videos to go viral. Please do not exert any energy at the expense of someone else. I honestly can't imagine if there had been cell phones and computers during my time, what that might have blown up into. Judy Garland stated, "Always be a first-rate version of yourself instead of a second-rate version of someone else." Which brings me to our 8th principle, personal responsibility. So what does that look like? You need to look, to listen, hear, and act. If you see someone being excluded, how about you invite them in? If you hear cruel words, how about you say something, even if those words are hard to come out of your mouth? If you know someone is struggling, reach out, offer a smile, or just sit beside them in quiet and let them know they are not alone. If you've hurt someone intentionally or not, you own it, apologize, and commit to doing better. Every single day, we are given opportunities to lift each other up or tear each other down. We are given opportunities to build bridges or create divide. We can choose to be the light or to add to the darkness. And no one is perfect, and no, I have not been perfect. We all make mistakes. But what matters is the willingness to learn, to change, and to choose kindness every time we can. Today, I challenge each of us to take personal responsibility, not just for what we do, but for what we choose not to do. Because silence in the face of cruelty can speak much louder than words. St. Augustine wrote, "Wrong is wrong even if everyone is doing it. Right is right even if no one is doing it." For me, the pain of being bullied did not end my story. It became the catalyst to the start of a lifetime of service, of protecting and serving other people's safety and well-being. It ignited an unshakable determination in me to shield and defend others, to be a guardian for those who felt powerless, and to make sure that no one around me ever felt the way I once did. John F. Kennedy said, "One person can make a difference, and everyone should try." And so I ask you here today, are you willing to take that sucker punch? Are you willing to take that extra step and walk beside someone who may not look like you, who may not be the popular person? Are you willing to soar boldly above the judgments, whispers, opinions, hypocrisies of this world, and walk bravely in your truth for all the world to see, allowing the light to shine upon your courage and your bravery. For if you are, know this, the spirits and all those in the unseen world see every act of courage and kindness, even when the world does not. They honor our choices, they walk beside us, ready to guide us, and they will never abandon us, even in our darkest moments. We are truly never alone. Stand strong and know that you are always supported. My name is Nancy Lombardo, and I will forever protect and serve your well-being. Thank you so very much.